That's where you got to sit yourself in your place and know that everybody's on a different path. You got to be humble. You know what I'm saying? The hardest thing to you may be the easiest thing to someone else, but they're struggling with something too, and vice versa.
That's a really, really good one.
Everyone has a setback. You're not the only
That's
one
a
in
really,
it.
really, really good
You're
one.
not the only one in it.
As a bird like this. Look at that. Oh, yo.
You understand? Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, are you Unfiltered? I'm René and Ethan. Who's this guy?
Ethan Durrett, and we are here to bring you another weekly special of the Unfiltered podcast.
Another certified hood classic.
That's what we like to call them.
That's what we like to say.
As you all know, we are the official sellers, providers, sponsored by Crown Movement. And we just got hoodies finished up at the print shop.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gorgeous. The embroidery is beautiful. The print on the back,
1
mint.
for 1.
Don't forget that if you use our code, you get $10 off.
10 bones.
They are going to be in the description below in about 2 to 3 weeks. We're still working out the logistics. But for the time being, we got the shirts, we got the toques. Check it out. Once they are in there, we will give you guys the okay to go down and cop them.
We'll give you the heads up.
We're just letting you guys know they are coming. They are good quality pump cover hoodies for the winter season.
Yes, sir. To all my gym rats, to all my athletes, to all my casual people, to all my lifestyle people, to all my hype beasts.
They're nice.
Check it out.
They're really nice.
Because crown on top. Wear your crown.
Kings and queens.
Kings and queens.
Today we're gonna jump into what René wants to talk about. Take it away.
Yes, sir. But before I say that, if you like what you're watching, if you like what you're seeing, if you like us and our content, like, subscribe on YouTube, follow and rate on Spotify and every other podcasting platform. Let us know how we're doing.
Leave reviews. Nothing less than a 5-star.
5 stars only. Okay.
All right, let's jump into it.
So, this happened in another one of our 0.5 episodes that you don't remember, apparently.
No, I do. I was just fucking with you.
He was just fucking with me. So, we were talking about how everybody is on a different road, different path in life, right? So many people think they're constricted to a time limit. So many people think that because they're a certain age, you know, they can't do what they want to do. You know, all of a sudden, you're 25 and you've reached the expiry date for your dreams.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. That's not real.
I always like to go back to that picture of the person walking and then the split path. And, you know, one side is like drugs, partying, yada, 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 you know, bad influences, this, and that. And the other side is, you know, working hard, putting everything before, you know, your pleasures, right? So studying.
Yeah.
All the hard things, right? Not the instant gratification.
Yeah.
And it shows him like deciding which route he wants to take, and then it shows both outcomes of, you know, both routes. And I'm sure you guys can kind of, you know, make that out yourselves on like what happens on each side. But the reason I like that is because everyone is on a different route. May it be drugs versus working hard, right? There's always two things that we weigh out, right? Do I want to eat at home for breakfast, or do I want to go out for breakfast, right?
There's always going to be the yin and yang.
There's always going to be like the instant pleasure or the, you know, got to work for it a little bit. Do I want to study, or do I want to play video games? You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like René said,
duality.
Everyone's on a different wavelength. Everyone's on a different path, which is okay, right? And I love to think about like that picture of the one person, but having a bunch of people and a bunch of different paths that split all over the place, cross over,
right.
You know, like just everywhere. And that is the best way for me to, you know, think about it, right? We're all on our own path, and, you know, we cross over from time to time. We did jump over here, jump over there. But, you know, we all get to our end goal based on our daily habits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's always direction, even though sometimes it feels like there isn't. There's a lot of people that lose sight of that. There's a lot of people that get lost, and that's kind of what I want to touch upon today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like I was referencing earlier, there are so many people that reach a certain age and they just give up on everything. They're like, I have, and in part it is true, right? The older you get, or it's not even the older you get, just because you're a certain age doesn't mean anything, right? The more you advance in life, the more you progress, that's what you really want to keep an eye on, right? The more responsibilities you're going to take on, the more things you're going to have to do, the more things you're going to have to tackle in your daily life. You know, we're there already, right? Where we're seeing the effects of that more and more, you know, like last year, the start of last year in January, I was still gaming hard every day in my room with my friends, you know, life was good, didn't work, didn't have anything to pay for, right? Now we've got Unfiltered. I've got so many different projects. I got my full-time job, got to keep an eye on things to pay. You're in school, you're a runner, got things to pay for, got your job, basically full-time. I'd consider it. So
yeah, I mean 4 days a week. Yeah. I like to break it up into two segments. So there's the mental side of life, and then there's the physical.
Mm-hmm.
The physical is a ticking time bomb. Every day until you hit your peak physical human form, right? Which I know depends on your sport, depends on what you want to do. But for my case specifically, as a runner, is between 30 and 37, 38. That's like peak for runners.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
That's peak
I
male.
thought you were good now.
Yeah, bro. It just keeps getting better. But that's peak male, like, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy. So, like, after that, I can't expect to get any better, right?
I like that quote where it says, it's a shame for, in this case, in this quote, it's a shame for a man to grow without ever knowing the full potential that his body is capable of.
Yes, it is.
And it's beautiful.
And I love to look at it that way because you only have X amount of time to really take in those gains and work hard and see how far you can go, right? And then it comes to a point where your body starts to lose itself, right? You get old, things start to hurt, you know, it falls apart, becomes more of a mental battle to, you know, do these things that used to come so easy and natural, right? Like, I remember I used to skateboard when I was younger and nothing hurt. And now, like, I'll be walking around the house and, like, I'm like, damn, my legs hurt. Like, just like the little things. And then there's the mental side of things where your body may be completely useless and you can't use it anymore, but your mind is still so strong, powerful, flows well, ideas are good, you know, still a well-oiled machine.
It's important to not let yourself mentally check out.
Yes.
Mentally checking out is probably the worst thing you can do, right? Because as things go, as far as science goes, your body's going to have a limit. That is true.
Yes.
Right? You can't dream of being a pro athlete when you're 50 years old. Unfortunately, that's just not how it works, right? We'd all love to say that, and I love to
not at the same level that like professionals are at.
Right? Like to be like on the NFL type thing, right? That's not going to happen, right? You've reached the limit of your physicality. You can't really strive for that anymore. But not checking out of your mental, what does that do for you? Well, if you're truly passionate about that sport,
you can go coach.
You can go coach. You can go. If you have kids, raise your kids to be. Granted, if they want to, raise them to be the best athlete that they can be. Yeah. You know, there's so many different options you can do, right? And depending on what field you partake in, right? Like if you're more of a financial guy, accountant, numbers are your thing, maybe go oversee that for the NFL, right? Do something. Because if you leave yourself out, you're going to shut the door on so many opportunities.
Well, the mind is such a beautiful thing because not only does it control
it's a fortress.
It is. Not only does it control itself, but it also controls its body, right? So the mind controls the actions that the body portrays, but it also controls its thoughts, it's I don't even know how to like explain it properly, because the mind is two separate things in my head. It's the mind and then the body, like I said.
Well,
But
if you look at it even in the scientific terms, right? Like you have the sympathetic and the asympathetic nervous system, I think is what it's called, right?
Yeah.
You have like the things that are automatic, like breathing.
Yes.
Then you have the things that are reactions, right?
Yes.
If you think of the mind in that way, you're not wrong, right? Like you have the mental portion where, you know, your consciousness resides, where
Yes.
your thought process are, all of that. And you have the part of your mind that controls everything that you don't consciously or actively think about.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Is that what you're trying to say?
That is literally exactly what I'm trying to say.
Bar for bar.
It's crazy. And honestly, at a certain point, there's some activities that become just like breathing. Right? There's some activity. Like I know sometimes I'll be running and I'll forget that I'm running. And it's just like happening.
Right?
You know?
I've been back on my workout grind too lately, and I've found myself been doing the same thing. Found myself to be doing the same thing, right? Like even this morning when I woke up, right? I woke up a little late cuz I forget what I was doing the night before, but I went to bed at a pretty decent time, but not the best time. And then I woke up later than normal, but then I was like, my body was just moving. I gotta go to the gym. Go. Simple as that. As soon as you build the habit, as soon as you get into the routine, it's like that.
Yeah.
Right? You can't really stop yourself. I mean, you can stop yourself from doing it, but if you're so in the habit of doing something that it's just to the point where it's automatic, it's automatic.
It just happens. At a certain point, I think, you know, everyone's on a different path, right? I mean, even like, what are we, 2 years out of high school?
Yeah.
A year and a
Here
half,
we
maybe.
are, a year and a half out of high school.
And, you know, I talked to a couple people, right? I ran into someone today that I went to high school with, and, you know, I was kind of like, what have you been up to? Like, how have you been?
Yeah.
And
I love those moments, those check-ins with the people you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. And it's not like I was, you know, super close with this person by any means, but, you know, just like, you know, mutual friends, you know, I know of you, you know of me, you know, that kind of thing. And this individual goes like, oh yeah, I'm moving in with my significant other. We're getting a house together. And I'm just like, wow, like that is so beautiful, right? And then, you know, there's other people that are like, yeah, I'm still living with my parents. And there's other people that are like, yeah, I'm moving into an apartment. You know, I'm moving out of my parents' place. There's people like myself, you know, living all by myself as well. I just find it so amazing that everyone is on a different journey. Everyone is living a different movie. And it's really, really cool to see that play out, see that ball roll. Kind of has like that snowball effect. Like as soon as the ball gets rolling, everyone's life just gets going. And I feel like that's very true out of high school especially.
Yeah.
I find that very, very, very...
Well, the thing is, right, especially when you're just out of high school, it's like things are bound to start moving at some point, right? Because the life we've known since we were kids, right? Since we're born, you know, we go from being an infant to being a kid, right? And in those 5 years of growing up, you kind of learn, you know, what it is to be who you are. Not to a literal sense, but like to more of like, oh, I'm alive. I'm a human being. This is what I'm doing. These are my parents. These are my brothers and sisters. These are my family. Blah, 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 blah. Right?
The basics.
And
you
then
got
you go...
the ABC book. You got the food book.
Exactly.
You got the animal book. You're just learning.
You're just learning life. And then you get into school. And school is a long journey. School for some people doesn't stop until they're like 30.
Yeah.
Right? But out of that period where it's like mandatory school, or not necessarily even mandatory school, but like that period where it's most important in our lives, so when we're growing up and teenagers, once that period is over, once you're of legal age in whatever province or state, country, continent you're in, that's when shit gets rolling.
Yeah. Right?
Because whether you like it or not, you have to rise up to some responsibilities, right? The base ones you get right off the bat, you know, maybe you have a social insurance number, right? You have a job now, you got to pay taxes, things X, Y, Z, right? Those things start to build you up. And a lot of people have had that for a while. Did you start working when you were 14?
Yeah, I got my SIN like when I was super young. Like,
right? I didn't get that till I was
14.
like about 15, 16, and I didn't start working until I was 17, almost 18.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was working at Co-op was my first job.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was 14 when I got it, and I was 14 when I started working there as well. But like I was just about to turn 15. And I worked there for a year, and then I worked construction. Like I've just been working since then. But that was like my first real job.
Like
was
something
co-op.
that you have to keep yourself accountable to. Like
it wasn't just like a side gig. It was like show up at this time. You have
like
these
you got your
tasks.
payroll.
You got this. You got that.
Yeah.
You got vacation pay. You got like an actual pay
Exactly.
stub. You got a T4 to do your taxes.
Exactly.
Like, like real life shit,
Like slowly but surely you start priming yourself to those things, right? Like my first job was the farmers market here in Red Deer, the Gasoline Alley Farmers Market. Big shout out to them. Sick people.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was a sick job. My friend hooked me up because I was like, I'm looking for work. I got to start doing it. Shout out to my friend Maela if he ever watches this.
Yeah, I was going to say it was my LA.
Yeah. Hooked me up with that sick job. It was kind of like a whatever job though, right? Like I was just a greeter. I just greet people. What's good, guys? Clean around and do things. Sometimes we'd get like some better tasks to do and stuff where it actually felt like a job, and it was like, wow, nice. But for most part, right, like it was a job, but it wasn't a job, right? To where I am now at the position, I work at the Source in the mall here, and it's so different dynamically. I've been talking with my coworkers about that too, right? Because it's really a place where it sets you up for growth because you get all these things that you can do and these things that you have to do, right? But case in point, the point with all of that is once you're out of high school, like you said, the ball gets rolling.
Yeah.
Right? Whether you like it or not, you get the snowball effect and things keep building up. You have to break out of your shell eventually if you're still in that.
It can be really intimidating.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous as well because you're overwhelmed with responsibilities and accessibility to things that you didn't have beforehand. And not only that, but you're also lacking the supervision and the guidance.
Yeah.
Right? I know myself, I've always had access to money because I've always been working.
Yeah.
But then, student loans, like we're talking about someone that abuses their student loans. And I'm sure they're not the only case of it because, I mean, you're 18, you're given, fucking $16,000,
anywhere
$20,000
from $9,000 to 16.
Yeah, just right in your bank account. Boom.
Deposited. Right?
And then you're just looking at it like, holy fuck. Like I can do anything
and
I want.
That's a common joke too that a lot of people make, eh? Oh, yeah, I just fucked my car up. Oh well, student loans.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, motherfucker. And people who like switch majors all the time, like, I saw student loans or whatever their case may be. You have to realize that's not your money.
Dude, it's actually like fucked because
that's not yours. You're gonna have to pay it back.
It's not yours, and yours. Honestly, the interest rates are very, very low on them, like less than 7%. Yeah. But at the same time, why would you want to be paying all that interest on something that you don't need to be?
Like it's yours temporarily, and while there are some things, like for example, my car, there was a few issues with it. The one I had before I got the SI back. A few issues with it during the winter that I had to take care of, and I did use my student loans money for that.
Well, that's because you didn't have any other money.
Very true.
Like that's all you had until you could pay. I always like to say I'm paying myself back.
Yeah.
Right? Until you could pay yourself back.
Yeah.
You had to resort to that. Like I always had like my savings and then my checking.
Right.
And sometimes I'd take money out of my checking, student loan account, let's just say.
Right.
And then I'd pay myself back.
Right.
And I always put 50-50 checking, saving. So whenever I took money out, I had to put double back.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart. But that goes to show, right, like there are some scenarios, some situations, right, where you kind of give and get, you exchange something for something. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's not your money. Even though it may benefit you now and it may help you now, in the future, if you're not careful, right, what are you going to do? Well, you're fucked. right?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you're paying interest. Now all of a sudden you're paying all this money back.
Yeah,
right? And that's
it's a very, very scary route that you can be on financially. At a young age, you can either set yourself up for success for the rest of your life, or you can completely fuck yourself. There's credit cards, huge responsibility.
Yeah.
Fucking up your credit score young is one of the worst things you can do.
Yeah.
Because then when it comes to getting the real life things, a house, a car payment, they're gonna check your credit score and they're gonna say, buddy,
you're not responsible.
We're not giving you any money.
We're not
giving you a loan.
with that.
This isn't happening. You're gonna have to stay in your 1995 fucking beater. Like we're not giving you a loan to get this 2021 Camaro. Like it's not happening.
So tie that into the path. Where does all this fall on the path?
Well, along the path is, I believe, education. People have the two routes of either going down an educational path or non-educational path. And I don't care what anyone says. Education is very important. Especially the base fundamental education. There's a lot of people that don't know what taxes are, right? And they just go...
Being money smart's important.
Very important. Because it revolves around everything. Not having a clue where your money goes gets you get taken advantage of everywhere you go. Like, I know people that just go and file their taxes, pay someone, $120, get their taxes filed. They have no clue. They have
what
no idea.
What any of the numbers mean.
They don't know what any of it means. They just say, oh, I owe this much or I get a return of this much. And, there's people that go to the bank and, want to get a mortgage out, want to get a loan to go buy a house. And they're like, yeah, you need to save this X amount of dollars, blah, 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 blah. Interest rates this. And, for the most part, you can kind of, negotiate. But there's a lot of people that are just like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, sounds good. And I think in this life, being uneducated is the easiest way to get fucked.
Okay.
Like, you're fucked.
I mean, yeah, straight up.
If you don't know, then people are going to use you and abuse
take
you.
advantage of
and that's
you,
from
right?
a young age.
There are
right?
so many markets that are established on that too, right?
There
like
are
a lot of the consumer markets nowadays.
Dude,
that's what it is.
You can
consume.
You can bring it back to when we were younger, right?
Yeah.
Go up to some kid and be like, "Hey, I'll trade you this card for this card, Pokemon," and they'll be like, "Oh, okay," and like you're trading like a basic fucking Pikachu for an EX, and the kid's just fucking so happy, and you're just like fucking idiot. Like
you just rolled the kid.
Exactly. You're just finessing everyone. And that's what people will do to you if you're uneducated. And right now, I bet you there's a few people watching that are like, well, fuck, what the fuck do I do if I'm uneducated?
Right.
Figure out what you're uneducated in and learn. Use Google, use resources. They're everywhere.
That's the best
Don't be
tool.
lazy.
I know we were talking finances a few months ago, and I felt like my brain was opening up. Like,
and we were just
had
Googling
so much information, right? And a lot of things on the internet aren't real, but if you get like the right sources, things that are backed, and then you actually get that knowledge and you build upon it, especially when you can take advantage of that while you're in school, right? Like, ask your teachers. I used to ask my teachers a bunch of questions, outside of like actual class stuff, like life things, and they'd be like, yeah, this is how this happens, this is how that happens, or this is how this is explained, yada yada yada. And those are useful things to have, right? Or else how the fuck 100%. Are you gonna learn? So tie that all in, grab the rope, tie that all in to leading on the path, right? How everybody's on a different path.
Tie in what exactly?
Everything we just said.
Okay, well, everyone's on a different path in life, obviously, right? And I believe whether or not you want to be, educated, not educated, if you don't want to go to school, do want to go to school, want to be irresponsible with your student loans, like do whatever you will.
Yeah.
But I believe it's important to understand repercussions before you decide to do what you will.
To know when things get real.
Yeah. I think that like before you decide to take that right turn or that left turn down X path or XYZ paths, truly understand it inside and out, right? And it's very simple to just dumb it down to that level. Like make every action that you do in life a path, right?
Yeah.
In your mind, envision yourself making those decisions.
Yeah, and what
all
road
day.
does that take that down? What take you down?
And not only today, but if you made that decision every day, what road will that take you down 10 years from now, 15 years from now?
That's a good one.
And really like understand that concept, right?
Yeah.
We've said it before. If you don't, brush your teeth every day or only once a day, right? Or some days you don't, eventually you're just not going to have teeth, right?
Yeah,
or you're going to have some
that
fucked
analogy.
up, you're going to have some fucked up teeth.
There's you gotta take care of all of the macro and the micro. I remember saying that in episode 1.
Yes.
The macro and the micro is
Yes.
super important, regardless of how big or small things seem, everything is the same thing of importance.
Well, even if you do, well, actually, no. My one buddy has a really good quote.
Okay, let's hear it.
Do the small things amazing.
Mm-hmm. I remember this one. And do the big things.
I can't remember it.
We'll get back to that.
Do
we'll get back to that.
Do the small things greatly.
Yeah.
And, oh no, I can't remember it. Fuck. It's such a good quote.
That's a good one. Maybe we'll put it in the description if you can't remember.
Yeah, we'll need to.
That's a good quote.
Anyways,
I know what one you're saying.
the idea behind it is do all the small things really good, and everything else will tie in together.
Yeah.
Being 1% better every day may not seem like a big deal, right?
Right? Like a lot of people want to be 100% better in a day.
Yeah.
People want the instant boom, I'm better. But
Yeah.
if you can chip at that over time, if you have somebody chipping away at the wall with a pickaxe to somebody who's trying to punch the wall down because they think they're the best, they think they're the greatest, they think they can do it, right? Who's going to get further?
Well,
The guy with the pickaxe.
eventually, the fists will be ahead at first. Okay, listen. The fists will be
a wall, a
li-
brick wall,
Listen,
rocks.
listen. The
Listening.
fists will be ahead at first,
This better be smart.
right? This is a big guy.
Okay.
All right, this is
Okay, we're envisioning this.
This is no Marcus Lee. Okay, this is a big. This is a big guy, right?
Okay.
Punching the wall, right? He's getting ahead, and this isn't one wall. There's 10 walls stacked up to each other, right?
Yeah.
So he's already like 4 deep. Motherfucker with the pickaxe 2 deep, right?
Yeah.
Guy that's punching them, hands are bloody,
Yeah.
right?
Minecraft
Beat
Steve
up.
out here.
Okay, right?
Yeah. Punching
And
the
and
tree.
he's barely getting through that 5th one. Right? He's slowing down. He's struggling. When the pickaxe just finished through 4,
Yeah.
and then through 5,
Mm-hmm.
and then through 6,
Mm-hmm.
and then through 7,
Mm-hmm.
and my brother over here,
Is dead on the floor, bleeding out.
Knuckles bleeding, hasn't finished 5.
Okay.
And it comes down to that basis of the slow grind that eventually will beat the quick grind, right?
You know what's a really good analogy for this that we've had
Let's
since
hear
we
it.
were kids? Bro, the turtle and the rabbit, bro. Slow and steady wins the race.
Yes. Exactly.
Slow and steady wins the race. You could have just said that, bro. I'm just playing.
Well, give us that analogy.
Well, slow and steady wins the race. Everybody knows the story of the rabbit and the turtle, right? The rabbit runs however much faster. Is it a rabbit and a turtle? I think that's one of the examples anyway. The rabbit runs way faster but gets exhausted while the turtle is taking its time. It's getting there. And eventually the turtle wins the race because the rabbit is tired and way far behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with all the tasks that you do in life. Same thing with the paths you may choose. Some people may look like they're far ahead of you, right? Like they've got the jump on you. But that's the point of this episode, is that everybody's at different places in time in their lives.
I like this one too. I'm building a puzzle, right?
Okay.
1 piece a day.
Yeah.
There's 1,000 pieces. You come over every day. First day there's 1 piece. You're like, the fuck is this guy doing? Second day there's 2 pieces. You're like, bro, why are you taking so damn long? Like, just build the fucking puzzle, right? Third day, 3, so on and so forth. And eventually it starts to take shape.
Right.
And you start to believe in me more.
Right.
You start to be like, okay,
I
see what you're doing.
That's the process, bro.
And then day 500 comes, half of it's done. You see a couple faces, a couple legs, arms,
But it's starting to look
the
like a
sun,
masterpiece.
and you're like, shit, that's really cool.
Right?
And then day 1000, it's done, and you're like, I like that, bro. It looks really good. And you go back to the beginning where you were like, bro, like, what the fuck?
That's the process.
That's the process.
That's the process. That's a good one for the process. Now hold on. Everybody's on different paths. Some people may seem like they're light years ahead of you, right? But in reality, we're all on the same road, right? We're just taking different ways to get there. From the moment we're born, what are we destined to do? Die. That's it. No more, no less. The way we get there
And pay taxes.
die and pay taxes. Good song. The way we get there, right, is different for everyone. And there are different roads, paths, right? So some person may be a millionaire now, right? But you could be the billionaire tomorrow. You know, you can't discredit yourself. And so we've talked about so far, right, like the mental aspect, the physical aspect, the educational aspect, you know, all the things that can contribute to that one path you're on, that one road you're on. Everything that it is that you're doing in life, you know, from the second year out of high school, it seems like things are piling up. You chisel away at it slowly, right? And all of a sudden your tasks seem a lot less big, right? So you really got to think about that part. You really got to get your mental straight, and then everything else will follow in order. Slowly but surely. I think in the next few, if everything goes as planned, in the next few weeks here, I want to say we're gonna have some guests that can further elaborate on that, and some pretty good speakers on all those points.
Yes.
Because giving up is a tough one, right? But you can't check out. You can't put an expiry date on your dreams.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a big task. It's a big thing to handle. It's a big thing to tackle.
It's very easy to, though. It's very easy to take the easy way out. It's very easy to let yourself be the victim.
Let yourself down.
Yeah. Well, when I say let yourself be the victim, I mean make yourself feel like you're not the only one going through it. You know? It's very easy to be like, yeah, like, you know, times are hard, you know. I mean, especially in school, you know, school's hard. I don't know one person that's like, yeah, school's easy. I don't know one person.
Despite the easiest thing, right? And people make fun of it and compare all the time. This is another really good example, man. So many people, like you have the engineering students who are completely shitting on the education students, right? Oh, education is not hard. Like, you don't have to do astrophysics. Like, it's different for everyone. That's where you got to sit yourself in your place and know that everybody's on a different path. You got to be humble. You know what I'm saying? The hardest thing to you may be the easiest thing to someone else, but they're struggling with something too, and vice versa.
That's a really, really good one.
Everyone has a setback. You're not the only one in it.
That's a really, really, really good one.
You're not the only one in it.
I like that a lot.
That's where you gotta, and I'm gonna jump back on the process thing now. That's where you gotta kind of trust the process. You know what I'm saying? And this is a thing, especially for us, you know, starting like a thing with YouTube, podcasting, all the projects and things we're trying to get done, things we're trying to do. People are gonna sit down now, right, and say, Ethan, René, Ethan, this is not gonna happen. This is dumb, right? But then they see the YouTube, they see the thumbnail, they see the clips. Shout out to those coming soon.
The puzzle pieces.
They see the puzzle pieces start to fit, and then
together.
they start trusting the process with you, right? You just got to make sure that you never lose sight of that. You got to put your head in the game. You got to stay in the game.
That's the most important thing is as leaders, we have the biggest chips on our shoulders. We carry the vision. And as soon as we lose that, it all crumbles, right?
To ashes.
Like if you and I decided like, yeah, this isn't going to work out and we just, you know, stopped, everyone watching, you know, all these people, they would just go back to their normal life, right? We would just be nothing.
Yeah.
And all of this would have been nothing.
Right?
But that's not how it's going to roll out.
You can't let it mean nothing, you know what I'm saying? The second you check out, whether it mentally, right, physically, sometimes it's unavoidable, but if you do things while you still can, if you do things now and if you do them the right way,
take advantage of it.
Right? what's going to set you up for failure? Nothing. But yourself. The only thing that can fail is yourself. That's why I think it's stupid when people label an age on certain things. I think it's stupid when people just give up because they're not seeing the results they want. Look at it from a different perspective. Maybe try something differently. There's several different ways you can go about doing something.
Some things are facts. Other things are not.
Yeah.
Right? Some things are already set in stone, just based on science, sport-wise.
Absolutely.
After a certain age, you can't, jump
But
same, do this the same, that the same.
There's so many different ways to do the things that you love. Like I mentioned at the start of the episode, right? NFL, if you want to be part of that, you can be part of that some
Not
way
as an
or
athlete,
the other.
but as a commentator, behind the
some
scenes,
way
setting
or
stuff
the
up.
other. If you're truly passionate about something, right, you will stop at nothing to get there.
Like the hot dog guys at like NBA games make like $100K, 6 figures a year.
They be making bank.
Yeah.
They be making bank, and look at them. They still be out there making bank. You just gotta perspective. What do people need at the games? Well, they need food. Where are they gonna get it from? My hot dog stand.
Exactly.
Simple as that. As soon as you shift your perspective, as soon as you work on the small things that lead up or tie into the big things, right? You see the puzzle pieces fit. You see the process start to
and the
come true.
The beautiful thing about that is that nobody will see it except for you.
Exactly.
It's just like you have, actually, this is our imaginary friend. Unfiltered is you and I.
Yeah.
This is our imaginary friend.
Yeah.
Because nobody sees what we see.
Yeah, nobody sees the vision.
Nobody sees it.
But you are the only one that can envision what you want.
Yeah.
Right? People won't start hopping on board with you until they see something tangible.
Yeah.
Something physical.
You are in control of every shape, every crevice, every crack, everything that is your life and your journey.
That's a super difficult one for people to handle and understand. And once they do understand, you also got to be careful of the side where, maybe you're doing great now and the people that didn't ride for you before want to ride for you now, right? You got to keep an eye on all of those aspects. I don't want to get too far into that. There will be better episodes to delve into that kind of thing. But at the same time, you got to be careful of where you're led to. Because on your road, there's going to be distractors. There's going to be people that try to throw themselves at you, say, hey, yo, like, let me hop on. Let me do this. Let me get on the train. Are you going to stop for them? Are you going to let them slow you down?
You need to have a very strict and very firm belief system with regards to your vision, right? If you envisioned it this way, and someone is saying you should do it this way, you should tell that person to fuck off.
Yeah.
Or take it into account, say, yeah, thanks, man. And then tell the idea to fuck off if you don't fuck with it.
Or take it with a grain of salt. You don't even have to discard the idea entirely. Maybe there's some good
parts. It
parts.
depends what kind of idea it is.
There's a truth. There's a certain amount of truth to everything.
That's
right?
not true.
That's not true?
That's not true.
Why not?
There's certain situations, like one that we're dealing with right now with a friend, who doesn't exactly like what another friend is saying, okay?
Okay.
Now, friend 1, who doesn't like what friend 2 is saying, is completely discarding it, right? It doesn't apply to him at all, right? The contents don't apply to him at all. But the contents apply to us, right?
But you see, in that kind of scenario, I think friend 1, if they're shut off to it, they won't see the benefit from it, right? But if they keep an eye open, one eye open when I'm sleeping.
One eye.
If you keep your eye open for it, man, you're going to see that while, yes, maybe 90% of what is being said to you won't help, but that other 10%, there might be something that you can grasp from it.
I believe that there's
something. That's why I say there's a certain amount of truth to everything, no matter
what that truth is. I believe
it's
a very fine grain of salt.
A very, very fine grain of salt. But
your finest grain of salt.
Like if I tell you an idea that you completely dislike, but you still use like one little portion, that helped you for the better.
Yes, you got to take. There still is, without a doubt, certain situations where it was just a complete waste of time
Well,
and there's
yeah.
no benefit
Well, yeah.
at all.
Well, yeah. But at that point, it's a lesson. It's an experience to expand upon.
Yes.
Even if it
yes.
doesn't give you anything literally, physically, mentally, at least you can make a lesson out of it.
Well, like earlier, you told me that something was orange when it was red. Okay, and that was just like I didn't get nothing.
Okay,
out of
now
that.
hear me out on this.
There's no grain of salt.
There's
There's no
no,
lesson.
no,
That's
no.
just bullshit.
I'm about to break your mind on this one. We see things differently. Not everyone.
No,
has,
bro. You're
not
just
everyone.
wrong.
Not everyone has the same eyes, bro.
No, bro.
Not everyone sees the same shade.
Okay, but to me,
If I'm colorblind
To me-
and you're not colorblind,
to me,
right?
that's a grain of pepper, bro.
And that's where I'm gonna run off with the information and be like, all right, and then you're gonna be sitting there and go, well, that was useless.
Exactly.
Sometimes that's life.
There's certain paths that we cross where you just say that was a waste of time. There's certain paths that you cross where you say that was a lesson. Not today, but one day it may be a lesson.
There you go.
And there's certain paths that you cross that are instantly a click.
Exactly. I can get behind that. I can get behind that. I can agree with that.
There's a beautiful mix of all of it.
And that's where the path leads you. That's
Mhm.
where the path takes you. You got to trust the process. You got to keep grinding. You got to keep struggling. A big one, I had a friend I was talking to that was really struggling with a lot of things. And I was like, listen, you got to sit down. There's a time to have a conversation with yourself, and there's a time to spring back into action.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But struggle is super hard. You know, when we talk about having all these dreams, goals, and aspirations, and how at any point in life, right, you shouldn't just give up.
It's a lot easier to talk and think than it is to actually take action.
Like I said,
Taking action takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of mental strength. In the beginning, a lot easier, you know. But once
sometimes in the beginning it's the most hardest, and that's where a lot of people give up too.
It depends. I mean,
depends what you're trying to
depends how
tackle.
passionate you are about it. I mean, for me, you know, school. I love school. I don't like the way it's taught. I think it's very rushed, especially the way I'm approaching it, because I have all these other things going on. If it was just that I was doing, yeah, it would be a breeze. But like, since that's not the only thing I do, it feels very rushed. Like I feel like I'm not, you know, learning more as I'm just memorizing and then spitting up, right? Just to like get the credential.
I hear you.
But I believe that everybody has a purpose.
Yes.
Okay?
Without a doubt.
And everyone's purpose is different. Okay? So for me, school might be too fast.
Right.
But for other people, it might be too slow.
That's why I'm saying the red might be orange to someone else, fam. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, to someone else.
That's what I'm saying.
To someone else.
See, now you see it. Now,
No.
Admit you see it now.
I saw it in the first place. But that's to someone else.
Yeah.
To me, it still feels like it's just like...
No. That's justifiable.
Yeah.
Right? The struggle is something that everybody goes through in different ways. That's why there's emotions, there's the process.
I was actually explaining to someone today, a really good friend, that doesn't want to take a break and doesn't understand plateauing. Okay?
Right.
And I was explaining to him that when you look at a successful stock, a successful market, successful company, when you look at their graph, there is a lot of up, plateau, down, plateau, big up, plateau, down, plateau, big up, right? And that's the same thing with life, okay?
Same premise.
You're going to have your really good days.
Yeah.
Where you're just fucking through the roof up, you know, the fucking Wall Street's going crazy. You're just amazing day, okay? And you're going to have the days where you're just like, nothing's getting better. I'm just the same.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have the days where you're like, fuck my life. This sucks. Nothing is good. I don't see the point. This is shit. And then all of a sudden, the cycle restarts and Wall Street's booming again. And you're just like, this is the best day of my life. I feel even better than I felt before. And it's that process, right? You can't always be 100%, right?
Mm-hmm.
What goes up, we all know this, must come down, okay? That
Bars?
is the way it works.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, that is the law, okay?
Mm.
So understanding that you need the off days to have the good days, right?
Don't let that
a
be
nice
where you give
mix, right?
Don't let that be where you
You
give
need
up.
to know that there's light at the end of the hard days, right?
Mm.
Because you might have a month, 2 months of just straight grind, grit, hard, plateau, downs. But at the end of it, you're going to have a huge surge.
The second you soar up, man.
And you're going to
that's when it
surpass where you were, okay?
That's where it happens.
It's always going up, right? When you zoom out of a graph, it's just straight up. It's just a line. But when you zoom in on a graph is where you see the mountains, the downs, the ups, all of
that's
imperfections.
That's why I keep saying this time and time again. Everybody's on a different path.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I could shoot past you.
Yeah.
The next day you might shoot past me.
Exactly.
The next day we might be at the same spot in
Actually,
different places.
There's no shooting past anybody because we're all on different paths.
Right. But when you think about it, right, like to a statistical graph sense.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Statistically, there is such thing as
like
getting past people.
If like metaphorically, no. That's the whole point of the episode. Again, everybody's on a different road, everybody's on a different path, but don't worry because you're not behind and you're not ahead. Mm-hmm. You're just doing you.
Yeah.
You're just where you're at.
Yeah.
Right? But when you look at it at the statistical sense, right? I could shoot past you tomorrow, you could shoot past me, but at the end of the day we're all at the same spot. What I liked about the talk that we had on that episode that never came out and that we're doing right now is you said that's why you like school so much. I don't know if you remember that. You were talking to me about how you're like, that's why I like school so much, because it's such a perfect place to see where everyone is at.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Different places, different spots, different learning levels.
But
we're all walking the same road at being in school.
Yes,
we all learn together.
Not only learning paths, but lately I've developed the conscious ability to observe people on a human level as well.
This guy's getting intellectual as fuck. Lately I've been able to observe people.
And what I mean by that is,
elaborate on that.
I have an 8 a.m. class, right?
Yeah.
And people stroll in, a couple minutes late looking like shit. Okay.
We all have our mornings.
Motherfucker just woke up. Caffeine pill.
Popped in
fucking
mouth.
Pajamas on. Looking like he's so depressed, right? And then I have like a 9:30 class and everyone just looks a lot more put together.
Yeah.
Okay. So I love this because we're all going through the same struggle. Like I go to my 8 a.m. class and I'm just like fucking slumped. Okay.
Bro, sleep.
And then once I get to my 9:30, I'm like, okay, yeah, things are rolling. I'm feeling better, and everyone is feeling better, right? And that's what's beautiful about it, right? You're not alone. You're not the victim, right? It's not like everyone around you is fucking like in the 8 a.m. class, like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Everyone is fucking like, why is there an 8 a.m. class, right? The sun's not even up. What the fuck? So that's what I love about it, right? It's not just the learning. It comes down to the little...
everything.
Yes, the little technical details that when you watch that guy walk into class and he has that look on his face, you're like, me too, bro. Me too.
The people you've been able to observe on a super highly intellectual level.
Yeah. Like, you're literally...
The ability
you're
pick that apart. Just fucking...
You're literally like, dude...
No, I get what you're saying.
I wish I could cry right now. And
like,
he's like, yeah.
Like, and that's,
it's the same struggle.
That's, one of my first days of college, right? I walk into my, it's like an 8 a.m. anatomy class. I'm like, I'm okay. I'm not going to say I'm put together, you know, like to the nines or anything, but I'm like trekking along. And you see, like you said, the different people who look like they just got out of bed. Yeah. And I met my friend. We're gonna call her A. And I met A, and she's like, hey, dude, I feel you. And we're like, yeah, I don't even know where the class is at. And they're like, yeah, let's find it. And they just went from there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Different paths, same level, different level, all one road.
Yeah.
All one road.
It's even nice to like look at people, rushing to work
Yeah.
or rushing to school, running through the hallway.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Right? That's relatable.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty in the human
experience,
world
the human experience
that we live in, right?
Yeah.
Is that we all are on the same path
Mm-hmm.
that way,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's the same path and then there's our own personal paths. But we all do things that we all do things.
Yeah.
Right? We
Yeah.
all drink, we all eat, we all sleep,
We all have like
we all shower,
the base
we
functional
all
levels.
drive, we all
Yeah.
go to school, we all have families. Like there's all those things that yes, you put your own personal spin on them,
Mm-hmm.
but at a fundamental level, we're all on the same route.
We're all on the same boat.
We're all doing it
We're
together.
all on the same boat.
I was about to say it.
I had to finish it for you.
That's what's up.
That's a good one because another example I can give for that is I was considered a pretty smart guy. Not to flex, I don't do that. That's not what I do. But I was considered a pretty smart guy to a lot of people.
Very smart.
Okay,
Really smart
All
guy.
right, chill out. And in school,
98
right, like I'd be
average.
the guy. Chill out, the guy who did
Super
that,
intelligent.
right?
Everyone.
And then in physics class, I'd be completely
Very humble.
lost. I'd be like,
Super
what
humble.
am I doing? I'm gonna punch you. I'd be like, what am I doing? Like, this is super confusing. And then you got the kid that you wouldn't typically expect to be smart at all. Kind of the class clown, goof off, whatever. We're gonna name him TW for the episode.
T-Dub.
T-Dubs. He's out there figuring out the problem. He's like, this is the easiest thing ever, bro. How do you not get this? I thought you were smart or something, gotta poke fun, and it's like, yeah, dude, I don't know. And then he helped me through it, and then we both understood it, and we even learned from each other and got a better understanding as a whole.
Yeah.
The beautiful moments like those, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful moments like those.
Those moments are funny though because I bet you he still finished the class with like a 70 and you finished with like a 95 or something.
Okay, chill out. Let's not expose me on the podcast.
Funny.
But that's what's up. That's the path. That's the grind. That's the struggle. There are disappointments.
That is the human experience.
There are disappointments. There are struggles. There are points where you want to give up, but if you don't,
downs,
you're gonna see those ups. You're gonna see the
Downs.
plateau for a little bit. You're gonna go down, up, down, left, right, center, left, up, down, down.
downs.
But at the end of the day, we're all on the road. Whether your purpose in life, whether your struggle, whether your choice, whether your decision leads you to success, leads you to another plateau, leads you to another down,
The sooner you accept the facts,
we're all on the
the
same
better
boat.
off you're gonna be.
You got to pursue what you want. You got to pursue your dreams, And if you keep at it, you're going to be successful eventually, somewhere down the line.
Well, I know for a while myself,
Mm.
I didn't like accepting the facts,
Mm-hmm.
right? I and it's still a little bit difficult, you know. Accepting that, eventually I'm gonna have to live, or not eventually, I already do
Yeah.
a normal life, right? And you and I, we want more.
Absolutely.
We want more, right?
Absolutely.
It
That's something you got to work for.
is, but it's also difficult to accept that we're still gonna be, normal people.
Yeah.
If like, I don't want that to come across like dickheadish.
Well, no, I've never sought to be better than anyone else.
Not better,
like the nothing that we do, even if we become super successful, which we will, by
Yeah.
the way, that's
Yeah.
gonna happen. But
subscribe.
when that happens, right? It's not like I'm gonna be some kind of god.
Yeah.
I'm still just a person.
Yeah.
It just depends how you define your normal.
Yes. Everyone has a different normal.
All right. Cap it off there. Not that content. Good episode put out Wednesday. We're here.
Blessed up.